AITA for telling my husband, "I told you so," and laughing at me when we received the paternity test results? I've been married to my husband for 2 years and gave birth to our daughter 5 weeks ago. I'll try to make this short so that I don't waste your time with unnecessary stuff. Our kid was born with blonde hair and pale blue eyes, although my husband and I both had brown hair and eyes. My husband freaked out and refused to listen to my explanation that babies are sometimes born with lighter hair and eyes that gradually darken. He ordered a paternity test and threatened to divorce me if I didn't comply, so I complied. After my daughter and I returned home from the hospital, my husband went to stay at his parents' house for the first 3 weeks to be away from me while I healed, and he told them what was going on. My mother-in-law called and told me that if the paternity test indicated that the child was not his, she would do everything in her power to ensure that I was taken to the cleaners during the divorce proceedings. During this time, I had my sister to lean on for support and assistance with the baby care. We received the findings yesterday, and my husband came home to review them with me. I was on the couch in the living room, so he sat next to me and we began reading the findings. They showed that he was the father, and my husband looked astonished and ashamed, his eyes wide as he stared at it. I couldn't help but say, "I told you so," and began laughing at the way he looked. My husband broke out of his amazement and yelled at me for laughing at him. We argued for a while, with him yelling at me, till my sister arrived downstairs and my husband shut up. After that, my husband returned to his parents' place to clear his head, and 2-3 hours later, my mother-in-law called to chastise me for laughing in my husband's face, as it was evidently kicking him while he was down. She also left a number of unpleasant SMS this morning, essentially saying the same thing. I don't think I'm an AH, but I'd want an outsider's take on this. Edit. I didn't know I wrote me instead of he. Sorry, but I have a headache. Edit. Someone asked in the comments, but I can't find it anymore, and I have no history of cheating. AITA for revealing our pregnancy at my brother's wedding, after he proposed at mine. My brother stated he was going to propose during my wedding. I told him no, that today was about me and my wife, and we didn't want any distractions. My mother lost her stuff. She stated that he wanted family members he would not see for a time to be part in the proposal. I stated I didn't give a shit and that if he did, I'd kick him out. He did it, and my mother warned that if I tried to kick him out, she would go as well. I only remember feeling angry within. My brother was married last weekend. Instead of a welcome to the family toast, I took the opportunity to announce that we were expecting our first child. My mother was outraged, but my grandmother instructed her to sit down and shut up. We spent the majority of the reception telling family members we wouldn't see again for a time about our upcoming baby. My mother believes I was an asshole for diverting attention away from my brother on his wedding day. She got furious when I told her that she had threatened to quit my wedding if I kicked him out after he proposed. I have a screenshot of the SMS messages. Did she plan this? I'm 35F28 and I have been married for 5 years and have a strong relationship, or so I thought. My wife told me a few weeks ago that she was meeting with a couple college pals for drinks, and now she informs me that she is picking up a friend with whom she had sex in high school. I inquired why, and she told me that his car was in the shop. Fast forward to yesterday when we got together with a couple of her college friends, and apparently she never made it. One of the friends said, "Too bad she didn't make it," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" to myself. When we got home, I confronted her, and after almost an hour, she told me she had sex with her friend. I asked why and how, and she told me that when she got there, he texted her saying he was at the bar next door for her to join so he could finish the drink, and she had a few drinks with him, and after he wanted to go by the house to change, she went in and he started changing in front of her, and one thing led to another, and to make matters worse, he came on her. After his wife cheated, he committed murder. As the title suggests, there was a man living in our neighborhood. He was an average-looking guy with a well-paying job. I was probably around 6 to 7 years old when I ran into him while playing in the neighborhood. He was leaving work and carrying a few chocolates and munchies. I was searching through the snacks. He gave it all to me on our first encounter. My father also got acquainted with him. He was the person who taught me the value of money in this world. He always said that even though I am not attractive, I have a great job that would allow me to make my family happy in the future, and that is all that matters. He married a few years later, maybe when I was between the ages of 10 and 11. His wife was stunningly lovely. I was invited to the wedding and congratulated on finding a girl like her. He laughed so loudly that all of the visitors looked at us. He became a father, and I became really busy with college, so our conversations became less frequent with time. But whenever I went to see my parents, I met him, and he became less joyful with each passing year. He had lost his smile from when I initially saw him. I asked him several times, but he always brushed it off. He was arrested 1 year ago for brutally killing his wife and boss. I won't go into detail, but he hacked off their toes, legs, and hands, tormented them, and then burned them. He then handed himself in. Later, we discovered that his wife was having an affair with his employer. He met his wife in his office. She approached him initially, and after a few dates, they began dating, but her overall objective was to utilize him for money. After 12 years of marriage, he discovered that none of the children were his. His wife was simply using him as an ATM to raise his boss children. In prison, he killed himself. A few days ago, it was the anniversary of his passing. I went to visit his cemetery and found his children with their grandma, who had come to meet their father. I brought the snacks and chocolate that he offered me when we met to place on his grave. When his kids saw me, they came running to me and exclaimed, "Big bro, did you also come here to meet Dad?" No wonder he was always saying Big Bro is a very good boy and all. At that point, I had a breakdown. I know we only recently met, yet hearing those words caused me great agony. I said, "That's why whenever you need any help, come to Big Bro," and I gave them the snacks and chocolates. Sometimes I wonder if cheaters consider the implications of their acts. How many lives will be affected? Why would you marry someone you don't love merely to wreck his life? What was his mistake? To have a wonderful wife and beautiful children. These things occasionally occupy my mind. I just wanted to share this story to remind folks to consider the repercussions before taking action. AITA. For refusing to pay for my stepchild's private school, I've been with my partner, 36M, for 4 years and have a 2-year-old child together. I have full-time custody of my 5-year-old twins after their father died, and he has 50-50 custody of his 2 children, 7 and 12. I grew up in a rather wealthy home, and my siblings and I attended private school, something I cherished and wanted my future children to do as well. My twins are now beginning their first year of school at the private school I attended. I pay for their tuition, and my spouse knew they were going since I made it plain how much I valued this. He also agreed that it is a smart investment and would like our child to attend as well, with each paying half when the time comes. His children do not attend private schools, but rather highly ranked public ones. Since the twins started school, his ex has been making problems, claiming that it is unfair and shows favoritism because my children attend a better school than their own. My husband agreed, and they applied to the same school. But when it came time to accept the offer, BM changed her mind and couldn't afford to pay her share. It should be noted that my husband pays alimony and child support in the amount of nearly half of his salary, and we cover the majority of other miscellaneous expenses. My husband asked if I'd pay for her part, and I declined. Since then, he has become aloof and blames me of not loving and treating his children properly. Yes, I could afford the other half, but I don't consider it my obligation. I never ask or expect my husband to provide financial assistance for my children's upbringing. I was confident in my decision to reject, but his relentless negativity, comments from his ex, and judgment from his family for not paying have caused me to doubt myself. Am I in the wrong here? *ETA. I have offered to pay some of the fees, as well as for us all to sit down and talk finances and our respective contributions. This was refused. Therefore, BM shut down and began refusing to pay any of the costs. The scenario may have been avoided if these types of discussions had taken place prior to application. I was not involved with the application, simply informed about it, because they are not my children, so it was none of my business. However, it is now entirely my responsibility if they expect me to pay for everything. I'm going to talk to So and see if BM wants to start negotiations, and perhaps something can be done for the next enrollment. There have also been numerous comments implying that my contributions to the family are inadequate or that I am mistreating his children. I've made comments, but I'll just include them in the post to avoid repeating myself. I pay for 80% of our finances, including holidays and day trips. All of this is arranged during our time with SKs. I am also the lone contributor to their education finances right now. I absolutely accept suggestions concerning how the children may feel, as I believe this is the most important issue. Conversations with them have resulted in them expressing a desire to stay close to friends, 12 years old in particular, or remaining neutral. This is definitely something BM fought for and led, and if she had been transparent from the beginning, I am sure something could have been achieved.